and today I'm not with my dad, obviously. I'm with Injury Reserve, and so Dad is the cameraman. But anyways, if you guys don't know who Injury Reserve is, they are a band from Arizona originally, isn't it? Could you give me some background on how you guys were kind of formed, how you guys started like rapping?
So I moved to Arizona because my mom was going there opening all the band stores, like the shoe brand in Arizona, and we were basically opening up a store, kind of like not actually building it from the ground up in regards to the infrastructure, but like building up the interior of a band store. And Grogs was one of the original employees there, and I had just moved to Phoenix, so he was one of the first people that I had met in Phoenix. And I had always known him as like a guy that was doing music basically. Fast forward a few years, I had started rapping in high school. What obviously immediately turned serious, even though it wasn't good. It was just one of those things where I immediately got like really, really into it. And I met Parker because his best friend was on my rival basketball team. So we were like camping out for some shoes, and he was like, "Oh, my friend makes beats, blah blah blah." And I had done a mixtape, and Parker produced all of it, and then I asked Grogs to be on it. That was like the first time we kind of worked together.
So with music and being in the studio, or just like stuff you play to get inspiration from, what's the kind of music that you've been listening to that gives you inspiration and is like, yeah, I want to rap like this person or do what this person's doing?
I think our biggest ones are like less so this sounds cool, I want to make something that sounds like that, and more like mindset, like a plans of attack, I guess. And those are like De La Souls and the Outcasts, and kind of just like the in between, ride the edge of pushing the envelope, but still like comprehensible. Yeah,
Nice.
It's not just like some off the wall noise. Yeah, I think those are the biggest ones for us.
So speaking of music and albums, what are some albums that it could be of this year or of all time that is like great or monumental or is like kind of changed the game or just like music in general, or that you feel is like your number one?
I know there's levels for us. I know that there are albums that are iconic to us because there are iconic albums, and then there are albums that are iconic to Injury Reserve in regards to both influence and just like staples within our career.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a few, but it's never been like public. But like, To Pimp a Butterfly was an album where, in regards to Life in the Dentist Office, we had an album that we thought was done, which was basically like a rip-off jazz rap album.
Yeah.
And then
Hearing beats and jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hearing To Pimp a Butterfly and how it was traditional in some aspects, but then innovative in others, it made us reapproach the whole entire album that we had. We were very far within the album, and basically what we had was a bunch of versions that Parker had made for the live show, because we were coming up in like this indie house scene, which was a bunch of like indie and punk bands in just people's living rooms or basements or whatever. And so our live show had always been a lot more explosive than what our records sounded like. So we were altering, what was the MP3. To some people, we were altering the whole entire song in regards to aesthetic and arrangement, everything, to make the songs more interesting and powerful for a live sound. And To Pimp a Butterfly was an album where, like I said, going back to the idea of it being both traditional but still innovative, basically we were sitting in my mom's 4Runner at South by Southwest outside of a hotel, and we were just like, all those ideas that we wanted to do live, like, let's just put it on the album. That is one album in regards to, for Injury Reserve, something that helped us kind of flip the switch. Yeah. And then obviously Floss was super inspired by albums like Get Rich or Die Trying or Hell Hath No Fury, albums where both approach and aesthetic were would have been refreshing in 2016 to us because everyone was making post To Pimp a Butterfly or post My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, or because the internet super conceptual, deep storyline albums, and we wanted to make an album that was just good songs that were just as good as they could possibly be within themselves.
For fans that are watching this that are trying to get into the rap game or just start rapping or already are rapping, just want some words of wisdom, can each one of you say some like words of wisdom for the fans to like kind of what you stand by or like that kind of thing?
One of the biggest ones that has worked for us is while never trying to take yourself too seriously, like take what you're doing more seriously than it probably deserves at the moment even. Like when we had nothing, we were trying to make like best video of the year like in our heads, and there's some that people still like oh that was a crazy video, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think thinking bigger, like always trying to compete with the top of the line, not like your local competition.
Yeah, because once you take yourself seriously or present yourself as something serious or something that people are missing out on, they immediately treat you that way.
Yeah.
But so even if it's just being very, very music first, or like he was saying, taking every single level and medium within what we do very seriously. We had always taken everything really serious. We dropped our first album, which was just like a little mini cult, our first mixtape, which is a little mini cult classic. But after it, we had released a zine that had all this like the story behind the album, and we had sold them online, and it had like a note like teasing to Floss, which was a year and a half later. It was just the idea of we took ourselves very seriously in regards to how we wanted to be represented. Obviously, when we make our music doesn't seem like the most serious music, and we have fun making the music, and we want that to translate. But like he was saying, taking your career, like being professional, and it was one of those things. Like I said earlier, when I got into rap music, I immediately was like dead serious about it. It was never like some type of hobby thing. We like immediately cared way too much about what we want. We thought we were like
purists. We were awful.
Yeah, we were trash, but it was a stage that you needed to get through. Like really taking yourself really, really serious and being that guy, like, oh, this is trash, like our shit's fire. So that was a very important stage. But in regards to my wisdom, I would just say what we always say is like, everyone works differently, and this is our approach, but a lot of like making good music, or if it's just in a writing base, having something interesting to say is like not writing a lot. It's just living life and experiencing things and listening to other people's music or looking at what's happening on the news or just traveling or whatever. That will give you more things to write about than writing every single day. And you loop everything that could be bunched together is like spread out into a bunch of different little things instead of bottling everything up and making very direct statements. Like this song, I'm going to talk about this song, I'm going to talk about this. A lot of people like work all the time, and a lot of their good moments are like spread out throughout things instead of just pushed out as one piece.
I think you gotta like not try to like go and make something. Like the best things you're gonna do are gonna feel like you like found them, not like you made them.
Reactions. Being in a group is amazing for that specific aspect because everything that we're doing is reacting from each other. A lot of people you can see like they're boxed in because they were given a beat and they made a song to the beat, and that's about where the song gets. And for us, it's like he can make something and we can react to it a certain type of way, and then the beat can react to that, and then it can turn into this cycle instead of just like a wave file and vocals that go on top of it. And you can see that a lot could have happened, but maybe because the rapper doesn't have the stems, or the producer just doesn't care, or backwards, like the song doesn't really reach what it could reach, or for a lot of what we do, the song ends up being something completely different because everything is just reacting to itself.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know you have a family, and so do your children really like listening to rap, or do they even like music at all? Or have you tried to kind of make them listen to rap music and kind of just grow into it?
I remember I used to, well, first off, I have 4 kids, and I remember I don't want to say I used to force it on them, but I'd always play what I was really into at the time, and they kind of nod their heads and act like they were into it. But my middle son, Jaden, has recently really gotten into rap, and it's a very cool experience to sit here and share music with him. He'll show me a playlist, and I'll show him a playlist. And I remember one day, it was me, him, and my best friend Jeremy. We were just sitting here watching the Joe Budden podcast for like 6 hours in a row, and I never thought that would have happened. So it's a cool experience to share with him. No, he's a little all over the place.
Okay. That's awesome.
It's definitely a great experience.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Nice. Injury Reserve was actually one of the first bands, or rap groups, I mean, that I really was interested in, and one of the first ones that I showed to my dad. And then
she could tell by my reaction on the first one, which I apologize for anything I said that was grossly incorrect.
No, you didn't say anything.
He was like, too many curse words.
Too many bad words.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I hope you keep the audio of you saying that.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do, it's really good criticism, and it didn't get anywhere because I curse a lot on this album. We were just turning in the lyrics, and I realized how much. And I find cursing on records to be like a lack of creativity. Like it's really, curse words a lot of times are filler words for rappers, and it seems to be that I have an issue with that. And I remembered that you guys had said that, and we immediately commented, and I immediately said, on the next record, we'll give you guys the clean version of the album. And we didn't do that with the EP, and I remembered not doing that and having too much pride that it was too late and be like, oh, it's too late to do that. Because we had never made clean versions of music prior because there was no reason for us. We were just kids uploading music on TuneCore. But then once you start getting a little bit, you're like, we want to play it on Beats One, and we're just like, that's not doable, you know. Now, coming with our debut album and stuff, there's a clean version of the album. But it's
you guys are off now. Nick told me.
Oh, you are?
You're off the clean version.
Yeah. I mean,
he won't listen to the clean version.
Yeah.
But I told Nick too
it's
that
one of his new favorite albums. Well, not new because it's not as new as like the albums that are coming out right now. But one of his favorite albums that he always plays.
me.
Killer Mike's R.A.P. music.
Because once in a while, if we're doing a
explicit
live
albums
thing or
I've heard in a
something,
while.
there's people are always asking me, who does your dad like? Who's your dad like? Every time, what do I say? Number one, I say Injury Reserve and Killer Mike. That's all I say. That's all I say, honestly.
That's interesting.
Then
I don't know why. It is.
Yeah,
It's
and
the way
I've
it
heard
is.
stories
And
where
my
he's-
favorite song, kind of, is Oh Shit.
Yeah, and I've heard stories
Well, it was. It's
of
not
him
anymore.
like going
I've
around
heard
on
more.
business trips, and then he's like in the taxi, and he's talking to the taxi guy, and then he's just like, you know what's a really good song, and then he plays OS, and then for all
I've
the
played
fans.
this in an Uber with like 10 business associates that are like business people in suits in a giant Uber. And I plug that
And
in,
then
and I just plug in
they're liking
Injury Reserve, and I just play it through the Uber system.
And they've never
And
hated
everybody
it.
likes it.
They've never hated
Especially the Uber drivers.
Well, what's great about it, and as corny as it sounds, we've always talked about how we wanted to make like innovative or forward-thinking or experimental music while also being extremely accessible. And it's something that all of our favorite acts have been able to do. Like he was saying, from De La Soul to Outkast to Kanye to Pharrell, like just all these acts that were able to make, MIA, all these acts that were able to make interesting music, but then it was able to translate through the masses. And talking about his kids or talking about you and what stage you are in your life versus your dad, that's a big thing that we're always trying to do, is to make music that we can reach like a wider range, but it doesn't feel like we're trying to do it, and B, like it doesn't take the art or the the approach for ransom, like via that. Like it doesn't take away from it. Like, you listen to The Love Below and Hey Ya and Roses, like some of the bigger rap songs of the last 15 years. But those are both very, very like innovative songs and extremely accessible songs. Like,
Very accessible.
and those are what we try to do. And obviously sometimes we think, it's funny, but like with Tesla, like we knew Jawbreaker was like different and it was gonna be something to cleanse palates, but I thought with Tesla it was gonna be like very easy. And it was funny, like people were still talking about like, man, this is so weird, like I really respect the risk that they're taking. And I was just like, oh, this was the easiest song of the whole album.
You're like, those car sounds are really innovative.
Yeah. And which is a great compliment, but it was really just like, it kind of scared me because I was like, ooh, this is probably like the second easiest song to listen to on the album. Like we're gonna have a rough go around. But then my little cousin was like, this is my favorite song. She also normally says that because of Amina, and she's like, this is my favorite song. And I was like, really? Like you actually like it? It's not too weird? No, my friends like it too. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah.
I think we learned in the last few months this album is a lot more down the rabbit hole than we thought it was.
Yes, because we thought that this was like our debut album and it was pretty straightforward, and the next album was going to be like this crazy weird album. And I was like, I remember looking at Parker like, I think we might have just done it. Like we thought it was
like
good.
subconsciously.
Yeah,
thinking of doing the experimental.
when you make a song or an album, like everything about it and behind it, obviously because you made it. So because of that, like a lot of the things that may come off as like off kilter or abrupt, like are going to happen, even if it's just like when it happens from the beginning of the album to the end of the album or any other aspect. So it's sometimes you do forget that what you make is different, because to us it may seem bland. Like I remember like a few days before Tesla came out, I was like, ooh, is this song bland? Like
That's why it's always been, not that it's a knock on the song or anything. It's always been one of my lesser favorites of the album just because it's the most reserved.
Yeah, it's on crazy. So
it's not.
But
just good. Yeah, goes to show how high the standard is, I guess, for the rest of the album.
So it's cool for it to come into that, and for you guys to do one of your first reviews or reactions to our music, and then for it to come full circle. And I'd always thought whenever we make an album, clean version, I gotta get it to you. And then you reached out and you were like, hey, we want to come to the LA show, and it was like, oh, easy, because it was like a back and forth thing. It was really cool to us because it was something that it almost felt like, and this is weird, but it almost felt like we don't know each other. It's the first time we met, but we almost grew together because you guys have gone you have your own thing now, and our reviews was one of the first ones, and since that we've gone where we've gone, and now it's kind of coming more full circle to where I'm not going to send you a clean version of the album, but
no, we might still need it for his friends or his mother.
Right.
And then also kind of, I heard you reference MIA earlier in the conversation. So, and now that rap music is not just Harlem or not just like places in New York or Cali, or it's like everywhere. Everyone's listening to rap, all races. What do you think about the globalization? Do you like the globalization, or do you prefer when it was underground, or do you appreciate that rap is getting more recognized and before it wasn't as much?
I think that globalization is kind of amazing because it's finding like whole new undergrounds that otherwise would get stale just by nature of being. Like one of the biggest influences that no one has talked about or heard of or anything on Tesla, as we talk about the car noises, that bridge was like mostly his idea based on this Brazilian song. Is it Bolo Haha?
Yeah, I totally forgot about
that.
Yeah.
This
whole sub-genre,
named MC Bemlada has a song called, I think it's Bolo Haha. It's insane, right? And it's just all these like motorcycle noises going crazy. There's just so many like the other day I saw a video about this new underground scene in Thailand. It's making like songs about like this oppressive government system. I think it might have been Indonesia, but I want won't say Thailand, and the government made a diss track back,
Oh, they
and it's
did?
terrible.
sick.
But it's a
Oh my God.
government diss
Like the
track.
Ben Carson rap song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy the worldwide just implications.
Yeah, obviously, as millennials and as people who grew up on rap, we're we love the globalization of hip hop music, and I don't think purists are mad that hip hop is bigger. I think everyone's happy that rap is the biggest genre or whatever, and whether they like the direction it's gone or not, and whether it was projecting to go that way regardless of how music was within the last few years. Because there was the whole conversation of Offset being like, oh, well, because they were the rappers that were huge, the second it peeled over, he was like, oh, we did it. And, what they did was super incredible, but I also am interested in was it just projected to go where it was going anyways? And yeah, as a business, it is respected in regards to globalization, but there will always be, at least for now, the lack of real respect, and you'll see that in the Grammys, where it's not,
There's always be racism.
yeah, where what we do isn't a lob, a lot of times it feels like they're throwing favors, or they're when it really is this album is better than these albums, this rap album is better than these albums, because there's a lot of times it is, and there's a lot of times see, the rap song album isn't always the best album,
Yeah.
but there's been some times
There's been
where
occasions, yeah.
there's been many occasions where it is, and I think that obviously it has to do with who's in the conglomerate and who are the judges, and that's obviously going to change within time, because of our peers. Almost everyone listens to rap now, so it's when those start being the people that are making those huge executive decisions, I think it's just going to keep changing and changing, and
Yeah, that's almost like a voter turnout thing,
Yeah.
where a lot of people don't know that they can vote on the Grammys. So the only ones that are voting on the Grammys are the people who care.
Yeah.
Just
it's the same thing as
the
politics.
US being so liberal, but the results being what they be.
Yeah. So obviously, I think it'll change, and obviously, hip hop is so young in retrospect to just genre and time period compared to music in general in America and everywhere. So it's definitely very interesting. Obviously, we're gonna feel like we're playing our part, whether we're really noticed or not. But we're gonna play our part, and we're gonna keep doing what we like to do, which is pushing things forward and making what we think is
Keep it interesting.
cool.
And even from a listener standpoint, like you were saying, some rappers in Taiwan or Thailand.
I think
So even something to be able to hear that, and then to be able to listen to somebody from Chattanooga or somewhere, it's very cool to get different perspectives from all over.
And obviously the themes, like you were talking about, oppressive government, the themes. What's cool is what connects everybody seems to be the mentality of hip hop, and I think that's really why it got big. It wasn't obviously the songs are good too, but people really like the narrative behind hip hop, and I think that's what's the most important. And that's what's going to live on, and that's what lives through trends and sounds and drum packs and all the stuff that some people complain about change. The one thing that stays the same is the message. And obviously there are some things that come and go, but that's what's really what I hope and think is what's really bringing people.
Nice. Anyways, thank you for letting me come here and for letting this whole thing happen, and just really supporting us and watching us from the start. Yeah, thank you. But yeah,
I can't wait for the concert.
Yeah, I can't wait for the concert.
Wear the glasses. I'm scared.
Oh, yeah.
I'm scared about it.
And so yeah, that was my interview with Injury Reserve. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video, but I can't do the outro part, so I'll just zoom in into my hand.
You can bring it all the way in.
Oh, there you go. Bye.